Oh, good morning, my Teacher King family. How's everybody today? Happy Friday. Another week down. So, we've got the week one NFL preseason. Joe Burrow did play. I expect Mahomes to play also. We've got baseball yesterday. Big day for me. 4-1, plus 8 units. The Milwaukee game was exciting. Somehow I got the highlights of Milwaukee. Yeah, I think I was looking at Mizorowski, and then I got the highlights, and so they're up 2-1. They go down 4-2, score 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth to win in the top of the ninth to win the game 5-4, and the over is 8.5. So it was beautiful. They got good hitting, and the Dodgers. I guess Shotani's out, where he can't pitch. He's injured, and Freddie Freeman's injured. It's always the injuries. That's why the team doesn't look as good. We wonder what happened to the 70s Steelers. Well, they got injured. Joe Green left. Mike Wagner left. Eventually, Franco left. Bradshaw got hurt. And you just can't replace superstars. And that's why, you don't have the Niners. They don't have Montana anymore. These guys retire, but to replace them, the problem is they always are good. So they draft near the bottom, and there's no Joe Montana. Well, he was a third-round pick, but usually you're not getting anybody down there. Anyway, I'm feeling kind of strange today. It's like my arm is kind of tingly, and my tongue's kind of tingly. It's not numb, I wouldn't say, but it's tingly. So it kept me up, and then I finally got to sleep, and then I woke up, took my Advils, then I slept in a little bit more. I feel okay. Like, I don't think it's serious, but it's just weird. I don't know. I don't know what to say. But anyway, I'm still ticking, so I guess I'm okay. All right, let's take a look at our gold. And our gold's had a nice night. So you can see China is not doing their job. It was down to 43.25. When I went to bed, it was like 43.10. And I'm like, well, at least it's holding 43. And then look at this run up. We're right back to 43.88, 89. So we're hopefully get to 4,400, but the US isn't buying for some reason. And then silver 65.20 was at 66. Again, where the fuck, why is this not in the 70s at this point? So anyway, that's where we stand with paper. I did see MMcgwire was on yesterday, so we will play some of his. Again, he's calling for $8,000 to $10,000 gold. He thinks everybody's out. It should go up soon. He said this is the best we've ever had, and I think COMEX gets a little seasonal. I think we'll see a big September, October, November, December. I think that's when we'll get to 10,000. I don't know why it matters in the summer. I don't know why they're doing paper options and why they don't buy in the summer. It doesn't make any sense to me. but it does seem to be more like last year, September, October, it really jumped. So that's okay, but this was a big August, getting from 4,000 to 4,400. So 65.29 silver. So we're doing okay. We're going up. Again, it's a struggle with the Fed trying to push the price down. Don't know what, they want you in the stock market. That's about to crash. So will the housing market. Those are all going to crash. They're all bubbles. Just be aware of what's happening. I got my haircut yesterday, and it was a pleasure going to a real pro stylist versus the woman I was going to. I went to a salon, and it was just some woman who didn't even know what the fuck she was doing. She was just combing my hair because it's a little bald up there. She was like pulling my hair over and just doing a cover up. And I always thought it looked stupid. And you couldn't really talk to this woman. She's one of these 60-year-old, I know everything. So I said, okay. So I switched. And this girl said, oh, she's just been covering it up. And I showed her my picture that I use here with me in Vegas. And I said, this is what I want. Give me this cut. And she did a pretty good job. So I'll be going to her from now on. She's $30. The other one was 25, and I'm like $5. And I don't need cash. I can use credit card, so I can use. I'll go to this one, and that's the whole thing of capitalism. If this was socialism, I'd have to go to the state of Michigan's hair salon and get whatever the stylist is there. You wouldn't really have a choice, or you might have a choice between the 4 or 5 that are from Michigan. In capitalism, she's able to go into business and be a stylist. And there was 10 stylists. It was a whole section of stylists. I've never seen anything like it. About 5 miles away the other way. So there's this like center where there's restaurants and doctors and lawyers and hairstylists. And so she was among 8 or 9, which is great because with competition, she can't go too high in her price. I said, well, you're not going to raise prices on me. And she says, no, for men, a men's haircut will be, it'll always be 30. Because I went to a salon, and every time I went in, they jacked the price up, and they did it after the cut. So I'd go in at $25, and the lady would go, and she'd cut my hair and say, oh, yeah, by the way, it's $30. I don't know. You can't. You have to tell me beforehand. I have to know what I'm paying for it before I agree to it. And so if it's 25 and you're not telling me you're raising it, you got to charge me 25. That's business. You can't all of a sudden say 30. You can't all of a sudden say 30 after the cut because service is already rendered. And I've agreed our contract's for 25, not 30. You got to tell me 30 up front. Hey, it's going to be 30. Do you still want it? And they're banking on you being an idiot, paying the 30 because you already got it cut. That's their idea. And that's really bad business. And I tell them all to fuck off when they do that. That's happened a few times. So she said, no, I'll be 30. I said, just if you're going to raise it, tell me before the cut, not after. So she cuts my hair, and I teach her about economics in about 10 minutes. I says, do you have any gold and silver? She says, no. And I explain you have to get out of the dollar and you have to buy gold. She says, well, I'll talk to my husband. I said, if you have any questions, call me, because he's going to have questions. Because if you don't own gold and silver, you're not smart enough to own it. You're going to be scared to get out of the dollar because you think dollar's worth something, and dollar's not worth anything. Anyway, but that's capitalism. Capitalism is competition and options. If you don't like Kroger's, you go to Farmer Jack's, you go to, Walmart, you go to Sam's Club, you go wherever you want. There's competition. And that's what it is. And that's why capitalism works. So not only do I have a choice of where to get my hair cut, she has a choice to be a stylist. There's 100 stylists. There's probably 1,000 stylists. So you go to different ones and choose who you want to cut your hair, and you're looking for skill set. So you're looking for value. For $30, I got a much better cut than I do for 25. So it's a no-brainer. So I'll go back to her and spend $5 more, but get a good haircut, which is important to me. I know I'm losing it, but I do castor oil it every night. So I thought I was getting, see, that was the deceiving part. I thought I was getting more, and there is hair up here. It's just light, but I thought I was getting more. But what I was doing was she was pulling my hair over. So I go, wow, I got a lot of hair. And all it was pulled over. So it was misleading that I had a lot of hair up here. Or more than I thought, because you're pulling from the sides there, and the sides look stupid and that. So anyway, real happy. But again, that's due to capitalism, she's able to go into it and free markets, and I'm able to choose her. In a socialist or communist way, the way these communists want, the perfect communists, they wouldn't be able to charge you for your haircut. Sorry, there's no money, and we can't charge. They're all free, and you would have nobody cutting hair. And she wouldn't make money. She makes money because she can. She can have a living. Now I got her in the gold and silver. She'll actually be able to protect her money. So anyway, that's what you have. And I was watching, I'll show you another socialist thing in Chicago. They tried a socialist grocery store, and that went bankrupt. I think there were 6 or 7 of them, and the government was going to pay the vendors or reimburse the grocery store in some way. And then the prices were real cheap, and they've all went out of business. So between that and New York, it doesn't work. It can't work because there's got to be profit motives. Kellogg's cornflakes, they have to make money to put it on the shelf, and then you have to charge. And it's not about you raising taxes to pay the grocery stores, to pay the vendors to keep the prices down. That's fantasy land. It's about the grocery store brings in the goods, and then they make profit on it. And they don't make money. They make 2 or 3% anyway. They make profit on it. And then the customer comes in, and then he competes. He looks at other grocery stores, says maybe this is cheaper, but it's not good brands and not good value, so I don't take it. And I go to another store. Like my meats, I go to the more expensive store for my meats, but the quality of the meat's better, and I can choose my meat. I can sit there and go, I'll take that meat. I'll take that. I can see the steaks. He'll pull it out and show me, here's the steaks on the tray. Oh, give me these 2. Where Kroger's, they're all packaged. You can't even see the steaks before you buy them. So I'd rather see them, and it's the same price, if not cheaper, because that store puts a lot of things on sale. But that's what you want. You cannot have this fantasy of, well, the food will be free. That's what happened in Rome, and we know what happened with Rome when they took their gold and silver out of their coins, and they wanted not to charge, free bread, and then the gladiator fights, and then they folded. So that's not what you want. Anyway, we'll get to that. Okay, so let's go to baseball. I would say I'll probably post week 1 college games the 29th next weekend. That'll be the 22nd and 3rd. I'll post it then, and you'll get the first week 1A and week 1B for the payment. If you're paying the whole year, it doesn't matter. You get everything. But I think I'll post it then. It'll give me enough time. If there's an injury on a game I like, that's fine. There's some teams playing both weeks, so I'll post the first week and then I'll add the second week. So when they play on the 29th, on the 30th, I might go, okay, no injuries, they're fine. Now I'll add I think it's Vegas or Hawaii plays twice. Well, I got to see the first game and then to see if I want to play him the second game. All right, so let's look at yesterday. We had Cincinnati 9, the White Sox 8. We don't play the game because I think it started. No, I was on early yesterday, but we didn't like the pitchers. Again, it's all about the pitchers. So now what do I get out of that? Superficially, I'm looking at the score 9-8 going, okay, these teams are hitting now. They go in streaks where they hit and they don't hit. The Dodgers aren't hitting right now. Philadelphia's struggling. Milwaukee, these are really good teams, but they're just going through. Every player goes through slumps, and that's what they're doing. So you're not really seeing a lot of runs. Cincinnati was a good hitting team, and then they dropped down. So with the White Sox, now it's good to see they're hitting. Now we can maybe bet them over or see who the pitching is. Pittsburgh 13, Miami 1. This was a free play. Pittsburgh over 8, 3 units, and they get a 13-1. I know there's going to be a lot of runs. I don't know if it's going to be 8-7 or 13-1, but we think the 13-1. Pitt is a very good hitting team. We got Detroit 3, Cleveland nothing. This was a free play. Was Cleveland with Messick going against a nobody for the Tigers. He pitches a shutout. Go figure. Messick. I'm listening to the car. Happy bias. It's a double. Because the left fielder doesn't throw the ball in, then it's a hit batter, which was not a hit batter. It hit the bat, but they didn't challenge. Then a walk loads the bases, and then a ground ball to third. The guy boots it. I'm like, what am I listening to? So the Tigers win 3-0, but even the problem is the Cleveland doesn't get a hit or get a run. So the free plays yesterday, we lose Cleveland 3-0, but it was just 2 units. We win the Pitt over. That was 3 units. So you make a unit on my picks. So I go 1-1. Seattle 1, the Yankees nothing. With Fried going, I played the game under, New York under 8, 2 units. Again, I like Fried, but when you look at the pitching and the other pitcher is pretty good, you go under. I have Boston 7, Toronto nothing. That was easy. That was 3 units. That was Boston had I think Volley, and Toronto had Scherzer, and Scherzer with his 7 ERA. I know Boston's gonna get them, and they win 7-0. So that was 3 units. The Washington beat the Cubbies 7-0. I don't play it. And Philly beats Minnesota 7-1, and I can't believe I didn't play that one. But they had Aaron Nola going, who's not their best pitcher, obviously. So that was like the Z Philadelphia team with Nola on the mound. The California beat Texas 7-0. I don't play it. And Milwaukee 5, the Dodgers 4. We're over 8.5. So we hit Pitt over, the Yankees under, Boston, Milwaukee over 4. We lose the Cleveland 1. With 3 units on Boston and on Pitt, gives us plus 8 units and another fine day in baseball. It's amazing I'm picking that well in baseball, but I problem solved it. All right, so let's look at today's. And we start off with the 220 game. It's 11:30, so we're in good shape. Taiwan Bowling. Hi, Taiwan. Happy Friday. Good to see you. Is PayPal your only option for payment for the college season? No, you can also use Venmo. I'll accept either one. I do have some people pay me on Venmo, so you can go either way. If you just have cash, we can figure out what to do there. I have a problem with Western Union. Long story, but either of those two would work. I think I have Cash App also for Alyssa, so you could use Cash App and just pay. Well, the amount we've agreed on is fine. Or if you just want college, it would be $5.99. But if you want the other, then yeah, the amount is fine. But I'll post next weekend. The games will be posted for that. Anyway, so let's go through baseball. St. Louis at the Cubbies. Cubs 179-8. Libertari 518 against Grant Holmes or Clay Holmes 289. Looks like a Cubby play superficially, but we don't just look at ERA. We don't just do the science. We do the art, and this is the art right here. We've got this is Libertari. He's 2 and 4 his last 6. Some unders, some overs. All right. Libertori's last 6, 4 runs shutout, 5 runs, 3 runs, 0, 5 runs. So Libertori's not pitching his best against the Cubbies. Holmes. This is Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes. Has he been on the Cubs? Now, he was on the Yankees in 2024. He hasn't pitched at all this year. No, that's not true. Oh, okay. He pitched for the Cubs. He pitched 1 game, and now, and 9 for the Mets. Okay, so he's 1 for the Cubbies, 9 for the Mets, and now he's back on the Cubbies. All right. So his last 6, he's won 3 and lost 3. 2-run shutout, 1 run, 2 runs, 4 runs, 4 runs. And the 4 runs have been on 4 innings. So his 2.89 ERA is not 2.89, at least his last 5 or 6. All right. I'm not going to give this as a free play. What's today? 8/14. And we will go. Okay. So I'm not going to give it a free play at this point. I might come back to it, but right now I'm not. A good game here. Miami at Cincinnati. Now, I was talking about how they both scored a lot yesterday, but that was Cincinnati and somebody else. Now they get Miami, who doesn't hit a lot. Cincinnati's won 11, 7.5, and it's Alcantara who's been pitching well, and Burns, their ace, 2.61. This is either a Burnsy or an under, but Alcantara's been pitching very well. He's won his last 3 before losing his last 3, and the last 3 have been shutouts. And before that, so his last 6 were 3 runs, 1 run, 5, 0, 0, 0. So he had the 5-runner against Houston. Houston, you never know with them. They win some, lose some. But Miami doesn't hit a lot. Cincinnati normally hasn't been hitting. I doubt they'll hit Alcantara for a lot. And Burnsy, he's 8-2 his last 10. He did lose 8-2 to Washington. His last 6 have been 2 runs, 3 runs, shutout, 5, 1, and a 5. Gave up 5 to Washington and 5 to Cleveland, 2 teams that don't hit very well. And then Pitt, he gives up 1 run too. So it's a real helter-skelter. Let's do this. So let me give you Cincinnati under 7.5, and we'll go 2 units. That'll be your first free play. Alcantara's pitching well, and Burns is the ace, so he pitches well. And the total is 7.5. I think we're looking at a 2-1 game, provided they let the pitchers pitch. All right, so we'll go under in that one. At least we got 2 good pitchers pitching pretty well. Burns had the 5-run, but, they can't go out and pitch shutouts and 1 run every time out. But usually after a bad performance, they come better. The White Sox go to Detroit. So Cleveland took the series 2-1, and now we've got, who knows, we've got Newcomb. We got Detroit 127, 8.5. We got Newcomb against Job. Job has been out for 2 years and made his first start last week or something. Newcomb is a bullpen guy, so we ignore him. Job is just like I said, he's from Oklahoma, born in Texas, went to Heritage Hall, Oklahoma. He's a Sooner Boomer guy. 1 game, he pitched 5 innings, shutout, 1 hitter, 71 pitches. So we get nothing out of that. In 2025, he played in 10 games, had a 4.22 ERA, and that's it. 2024 pitched in 2 games. That was it, nothing, and then 1 game here. So we don't know what he is, right? So it's hard to play him. The White Sox can hit. That's who it was. The White Sox and Cincinnati played a high-scoring game. So the White Sox are hitting. I don't think Job's going to cool them down. We don't know who Newcomb is. So really the question is who's coming in the 2nd or 3rd inning for the White Sox to pitch to Detroit. So that will be it. So I don't know. Detroit's pretty hot. They're 60-61. The White Sox 62-58. This series is kind of for first place. If the White Sox sweep them, then they got a huge lead on them. They'll have a 5-game lead on them. Right now it's a 3-2. It's a 2.5 game lead over Detroit. And really, Detroit's playing, they're hitting the ball. We're not sure they're pitching. Milton's good, and that's about it. These other guys, the guy yesterday, Montero, he's a third-rate pitcher. But every pitcher has their day. So I don't know what to do here. I'm not going to blindly take Detroit against the bullpen guy because I don't know who the second guy is. And I don't know how good Job is. He has a good game. Okay, wonderful. All right, so let's get to reality. Boston at Pittsburgh. Ooh, that's a good series. Boston 120-8. Bennett with the 3-2-0 for Boston. Chandler with the 4-3-0 for Pitt. Jake Bennett. He's 1, 2, 3, 4. He's 5, 6, and 2. In his last 6, shutout, 3, 3, 3, and a 4. So you're giving up some runs. Pitt can hit, should score on him. And Bubba Chandler from Georgia. He's a Bulldog, Georgia Bulldog. He's 4 and 2 his last 6. And he's 4 runs, 2 runs, shutout, 5, 3, and 0. We should get runs here. Well, we'll see what our free play is. Well, we already got one. It's going to be Cincinnati under 7.5 is your free play. Burns against Alcantara, two aces going. Washington and the Mets. We got the Mets 116, 8.5. We got Alvarez 386 against Don Strock from the Jets 10.12. He used to be quarterback, actually from Miami. And Alvarez is 2 and 4 his last 6. 5 runs, 3, 3, 1, 2, and 1. He's better his last 3. Decent, 6 innings. I'm not jumping on him. Robert Stock from USC, an Anthony Davis guy. He's only pitched twice. He has pitched since 2018. He came to the league. San Diego, and then his ERA sucked. In 2021, he had an 11 ERA. Doesn't pitch till 2025, has a 10 ERA, and this year's got a 10 ERA. This guy blows. 5 innings, 1 run, and then he comes back with 3 innings and 8 runs. So we're not trusting Strock. I don't know why he's favored. Alvarez probably better. I have no interest in Washington. I don't know who they are. Some teams are like that. Some teams you got, Boston, the Yankees, and some teams you just like Washington. They're too inconsistent. San Diego goes to Cleveland. We got Cleveland 129, 7.5. King 338 against Gus Williams 356. And this is how baseball is different. So the Tigers beat Cleveland 2-1, and the Tigers lose today and Cleveland wins, even though they're playing different teams. Nothing really happened, right? They'll go 2-2. So let's look at the King for San Diego out of Boston College. And he's 2 and 3 his last 5. In his last 6 games, he's gone 1 run, 1 run, 1 run, 4 runs, 3 runs, 1 run. So again, the 4 runs against Colorado. It's always the weirdest team, Houston, Texas, the teams that don't hit a lot. But he's pitched pretty well, this King guy, and he's capable of a 1 run, especially against Cleveland, who has no hitters. Gavin Williams from East Carolina. In his last 6, he is, he's 2 and 3. No, he's 2 and 4 his last 6. And he's given up 2 runs, 5 runs, 0, 2, 2, and 0. So I think we know what to do with that one. Baltimore at Tampa. We got Tampa 159-8. By the way, Tampa's 74-46, and we don't bet them as much as we should. It's like, it's a surprise. By the way, they're 5 games up on the Yankees in Boston. Oh, yeah. Tampa, yeah. So Baltimore's at Tampa. Tampa 159-8. Bradish against Mats. Mats 548. Probably the Z team of Tampa. Probably their worst pitcher, I would expect, with the 548. Bradish. All right. He's 2-3. He's 3-2 his last 5. And 3 runs, 1 run, 1 run, 5 runs, 2 runs, 2 runs. Probably a lower score. Steven Matz. He's 5-1 his last 6. He's a bullpen guy. Okay, so his real ERA is 5.46. Started 10 games out of 22. He's 5-4 with 1 save. All right, so this is a real perplexing problem. Is we've got a guy who has a high ERA, pitches, starts, and relieves. So how do we know what we got here? We just know he gives up a lot of. So we assume he's going to give up runs. Bradish is pretty good. Probably a Baltimore play, but Tampa is 74-46. They are at home. I got to let this go because we don't know enough about Matz, except for he kind of blows. Bradish is okay. He's been pitching well. But I don't like the game. I think if I bet it, I'd take Baltimore. I don't think I can take the under. Bradish does pitch well, but the total of 8 scares me with Matz with the 5.48. I don't know how many innings he's pitching. He's a reliever, but he starts. So he could go 3 or 4 innings. So I got to pass that one. Good game here. The Yankees at Toronto. Yankees 143-8. We got Garrett Cole 3.38 against Shane Bieber 5.57. Looks like a Yankee play, but it's in Toronto. Cole went to UCLA. The other guy went to USC. He's 3-3 his last 6. 2-4. Last 6 games, 3 runs, 2 runs, 3 runs, 0, 1, and 2. So he's pitching well. And that's in rhythm. He came back June 16th. So all 10 of his games. So if we go all 10, 2 runs, 5-4, 2-3, 2-3, 0, 1, and 2. So he's pitching very good, Cole. And Bieber with a 5.57. Let's see what he's up to. He's actually 4-2 his last 6. And he's given up 2 runs, 0, 1 run, 4 runs, 1 run, 5 runs. So a 5 and a 4 in there. And the 4 runs was in 2/3 of an inning. 5 runs was in 5 innings. And he had a 4-inning 2-run. Then he has a 6-inning shutout. So he's very inconsistent. The Yankees aren't scoring that well. Toronto, I've seen them have better days. I think they're still adjusting to losing Bo Bichette. All right, I think I'm going to go this way. Arizona at Atlanta. Ooh, great game here. This should be a free play. Atlanta 187-8. It's fat with the 2.53 for Arizona against Chris Sale, a 2.2 for Atlanta. I'm smelling under. Fat, I remember we looked at. And he's 2, 4, 6, 7-1 his last 8. Mostly unders. His last 6, 2 runs, 2 runs, 2 runs, 0, 1, 0. His last 10, 1, 2, 1, 0, 2, 2, 2, 0, 1, 0. They're at least 5 innings, some 7 innings. And he's gone 100 pitches one time. Atlanta with Chris Sale, we know what he's all about. Where'd he go? Florida Gulf Coast. I didn't know there was a college there. He's 3-1 his last 4. In his last 6, he's 3 runs, shutout, 3 runs, 0-3. So this is your other free play. We're going to go Atlanta under 8. And this will be 3 units. Good God, could I wrote it any slapper? Well, I was on the bottom of my page. Under 8. Three in it. So this is the play of the day so far. You got two aces going. Now Fat, he's got a 253. It's a legit 253. So even if you know him or don't know him, you look at the last 6 and you see what he's doing, and he's not giving up a lot of runs. You got to believe it, right? So he's pitching very well. And Chris Sale, we know he's a star. So you're looking at a 2-1 game. If Arizona doesn't hit much, Atlanta, you never know. So that's what we got. So go under in that game. That's your second free play. First one is Cincinnati under. Same scenario. You got two aces going. And I think we're about 8-2. We're about 80% when the two aces go and we play them under. There was that one game with, I think it was either Mizorowski or Skanes or somebody where it was like a 14. No, I think it was Sanchez against Skanes, and it was 8-6. But generally, they're the Mizorowski, Burns games, and Skanes and Sales. Those are all like 2-1. So most of them have been staying low scoring as they should be. With these aces on the mound, you're not hitting them, and they want the competition also. When Sales is playing Fat, he's going to pitch well. I'm better than you, so it becomes the competition. Seattle goes to Houston, and Houston 122-8. Oh, another game. We got George Kirby for Seattle 368 against Jack Lambert of the Steelers 3-1-1. Jack's been pitching well, I know. Kirby is 4-3 his last 7, 2-2 his last 4. So he's win some overs. Last 6, 2 runs, 0, a 7, a 0, and a 1. And if I go 10, 5-3-3-2-2-2-0, 7-0-1. So the 7 was against Texas. Gives up in 4 innings, gives up 7 runs, pitches 66 pitches. So a bad day. Most of these others are low scoring. Jack Lambert from the Steelers, now a pitcher. 29 years old, hard to believe. Jack is 3-1 his last 4, 5-2 his last 7. He's been winning his last 6. 1 run, 2, 2, and 3. So this is another game here. And we don't try to force these games. We look at the game. We let it tell us what to do using art, not science. And, at first, like Sale, it jumps out. I'm going to bet Sale. But then when you see how good Fat is, you go, no, it's an under. And that's the same thing you do here and in other games where the pitcher's got a real good ERA. But how is the other pitcher doing? Or maybe the other pitchers, the last 5 games have been giving up 1 run. It's going to be an under. So you got to take that in consideration. KC against California. KC 107, 8.5. Seth Lugo, who's 4.43 against G. Rodriguez, who's a pig with a 7.20 ERA. So Seth Lugo is an enigma. He's like the Riddler. We don't know what we got. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. And Rodriguez 7.20. So let's see. The spread's 8.5. The total's 8.5. It looks like an over. Superficially. All right. Lugo is 3-2 his last 5, 3-3 his last 6. Give up 2 runs, 3 runs, 1, 5-3. So he's been pretty good for 5 innings. Rodriguez with the 7 ERA. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's lost his last 5. Last 6, 3 runs, 6, 5, 2, 2, 4. So the under is not there. Taking Rodriguez is not there. Maybe you take Seth Lugo. I'm going to go. Well, it's an over game, but these teams don't hit. But every once in a while, they hit. They should hit here. So this is where it really gets confusing. The pitcher tells you they're going to hit, but the batting says we don't hit. We're a bunch of minor leaguers like the Tigers. So we'll see. Anyway, Texas and Oakland, we're looking for Perkins to bet against. Rocker 487 for Texas. Oakland 450. There's no line on the game. Maybe it's an even game. It's in Oakland. How do I do this? I don't really. And I hit the wrong thing. Well, let's see what we get. Kumar Rocker went to Vanderbilt. Maybe he knows Daggio. 2-4 his last 6, Kumar Rocker. And his last 6 games, 3 runs, 7, 0, 2, 3, and a 6. So he gives up runs. This is Texas at Oakland. Jump, I think he's pretty bad. Oh, he went to LSU. Bob, one of Bobby's boys. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's 2-7 his last 9. Jump. He's pretty terrible. His last 6 games, 1 run, 4, 6, a shutout, 6 and 2. This game's probably going to be an over. So let's do Oakland over. We'll call it 10. Pretty much it's a 10 when they play at home. Milwaukee at the Dodgers. We got, I don't know where Milwaukee gets all these pitchers. The Dodgers are 175 and 7.5. Gasser 457 against Yamamoto 265. Milwaukee's got a lot of lefties and they hit the ball. So this is Gasser. Went to Houston. Gasser's 8-1 his last 9. So excuse me. Last 6, 2 runs, 7, 1, 2, 1, 3. This looks like another close game. Yamamoto from Mr. Fuji's hometown of Bison, Japan. And he's 3-2 his last 5. He's not all that. 2, 4, last 6, shutout, 6, 2, 1, 3, 0. So you're not going to see a lot of runs here. Shotani's hurt. Freddie Freeman's hurt. They're playing injured or not. Milwaukee, a lot of hit. I wouldn't be surprised if Milwaukee wins the game. You're probably not going to see a lot of runs. Do we go under 7.5 in a Dodger game with Milwaukee? I can't do that. Although the Dodgers have shown you they're not really hitting. Even yesterday was 5-4. Milwaukee got 3 runs in the 9th to win it 5-4. So not a lot of runs, but that's a 9, 7.5. Yeah, I'm going to pass on this, but I would think it's an under game with these 2 pitchers, but you got to be careful of the line of both teams can hit. Maybe it's a Milwaukee play, but I don't know. I don't love Yamamoto. I don't like any of the Mr. Fuji guys. And our last game, Colorado at the 49ers. The Niners 126, 7.5. Kyle Freeland against Roop. Freeland for Colorado is 2-4 his last 6. 2, 4, 6, giving up 6 runs, 4, 4, 5, 1, and 3. When he's going to give up runs, as we know. Roop has been very good or bad. I don't remember. We'll find out. He's been very bad. He is 2-8 his last 10. So you can't bet Roop. His last 6 have been 1 run, shutout, 2, 4, 5, 1. There was a 6 before that. So his 10 was 4, 226, 102, 451. Gives up some runs. He loses a lot. Freeland sucks. I will do this. And we'll see. All right, that is baseball. 2 free plays. Cincinnati under was 7.5. Burns on the mound against Alcantara. Good game. In Atlanta under 8. We got Chris Sale on the mound against somebody, whoever they're playing. So 2 good pitchers there. So we're not betting Atlanta. We're betting Chris Sale. Baseball's a different animal. Let me get some more water, and then we'll talk football. All right. Let's see. Okay, this will work. All right, so we'll just go right down the list. Cincinnati beat Detroit 16-14. And let's look at Detroit. Altmaier, who I think's from Illinois, 9 of 16, 79 yards and an interception. Dobbs, 4 of 8, 32 yards and nothing. Dobbs absolutely stinks. Altmaier, Lions are in trouble with Goff or without him. They ran the Sailors 8 for 55. I go, who's Sailors? He's from East Tennessee State. Oh, he's a stud for sure. What a joke he is. Receiving, Sailors caught 3 balls for 28, and I've never heard of any of these other guys. And that's it. No interceptions. Sacked by Hassan, who the hell is he? And that's it. So again, the Lions don't play their starters. Oh, but Cincinnati does. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, 5 of 6, 39 yards, no touchdowns. Joe Flacco, 5 of 8, 51, and a touchdown. And John Johnson, what is he doing out there? 10 of 19, 84. If they have to go to John Johnson or Josh Johnson, they're fucked. This is where I don't understand preseason. Because they shouldn't be, they're wasting time with Josh Johnson. There's no chance of playing, especially with Burrow and Flacco. Now, we do notice Joe Burrow playing. Rushing, Sammy Perrine, I've heard of. Tajee Brooks, I think that's Tajee Brooks. And Brown, I think, is a running back that they use, 5 for 16. Receiving, yes. Iavasis caught 2 for 20. Jamar Chase caught 1 for 16. But the Lions, oh no, we can't play our starters. We're afraid to get hurt. And they wonder why they don't win anything. Myers caught 3 for 29. Andrus caught a touchdown pass. Ios Vias, I know that's not how you pronounce it, but he's a starter. And then we know Chase and we know Perrine. So that's the point of it. So they play their guys. So they got Joe Flacco, very good. Detroit's got nobody. Even Goff stinks, but when you're using Luke Altmaier as your backup, you got problems. Rookie out of Illinois. Wasn't that good out of Illinois. They lost to Indiana by 50 points. So don't parade him like, oh, we got Luke Altmaier. Big trouble for the Lions. And then they have the gall not to play any of their players. So, like, the offensive line's a new offensive line. They need work. They need to get playing time together. And it's not practice. You have to play them in a game. I mean, practice and the game are 100 times different, 100 miles apart. You can't rely on practice to get it. And this is what Dan Campbell's got problems with. Oh, we might get somebody injured. Well, guess what? You're going to get somebody injured. Where are my scores? All right. Oh, okay. They're probably on the bottom. These are games tonight. That's why I don't have scores. Okay, here we go. Pitt 28, Green Bay 9. Pitt kills them. Box score. Green Bay. Jordan Love, 3 of 5 for 18 yards. Well, that's impressive, but he did play. Tyrod Taylor, 4 of 8 for 21 yards. Kyle McCord, I don't remember where this guy's from, 12 of 16, 102 yards. And Kenyon Drones, I think he's a running back that threw a pass. Rushing, Martinez, 8 rushes, 20 yards. Lloyd, McCord, nobody we've ever heard of. Receiving, Jalen Reed, 1 for 19. And that's it. No interceptions, a couple of 3 sacks. They're going to need that without Micah Parsons. Meanwhile, they get killed. Pittsburgh, Drew Aller, who I think stinks, 10 of 13, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns. How bad is Green Bay's defense, right? That's what I take out of it. Mason Rudolph, 10 of 11 for 93, and Will Howard started the game, 7 of 9, 86. So Eller comes in the second half and throws for 2 touchdowns and 1 against the 4th string. He's not that good. He was not good at Penn State. He never beat Ohio State, never won any big games. The backup came in, was much better than him when he got hurt last year. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is there. And then Mason Rudolph was very good at Oklahoma State, 10 of 11, and Will Howard. So I don't see what they see in Drew Allard. He's terrible. Look at what he did at college. That's how you know what he'll do in the pros, not what he does in practice. Rushing, Pitt, I don't know any of these guys. Nichols, 10 for 36 yards. Heinrich, 9 for 21. Receiving, Tunyon, 4 for 61. None of their receivers, but Freiermuth caught 1 for 2. So Pitt has some decent quarterbacks, but not any as good as Dagiopava, and that's the sad part. All right. Indy and New England play a 13-13 tie. Well, let's look at the line. Green Bay was -3. We like the home dog there. Not that we bet them. just to go over. Indy was a 3-point favorite at New England. We liked New England as a home dog, and it's 13-13, so they won. Let's see. Player stats. Indianapolis. We've got Richardson, 11-14, 145 yards and an interception and no touchdowns. Riley Leonard, 10-21, 89 yards and an interception. Richardson runs the ball 6 for 53. He's pathetic. I mean, I need you to stay healthy and I need you to be a quarterback. I don't need you to be. I got Jonathan Taylor. Thank you very much. He just doesn't learn. And this is preseason. He's running 6 times. Unbelievable. Bentley, that's it. I don't know. Taylor didn't play. Receiving, I don't know. Mallory, 6 for 80. Sharp, 4 for 29. And that's it. And I wouldn't know their receivers anyway. New England. Danny DeVito, we found him. And Bernard Morton, I think, is Texas Tech or TCU. Morton was 7-13, 66 yards, and Danny DeVito 13-22 for 138. Oh, I'm sorry. Where's Drake May? Oh, he doesn't need practice, really. So we'll see. DeVito looks good. Morton was a good one. I think I think it was either TCU or Texas Tech. Good quarterback though. I liked him. Rushing, Miller. Haskins, Hastings, I don't know. And then receiving, I don't know anybody. Our guy from LSU didn't play, Bote. And then they picked up A.J. Brown, and he didn't play for some reason. You know, if you're going to play your starters, play your starters. If you're going to play, look at Cincinnati. They played Burrow and Chase. Play the guy he's going to throw to. Why are you so worried about injuries? If you're that worried about them, maybe they need to play tennis. All right. Oakland was 3-point favorite over Arizona. Arizona got them 27-14. Well, let's see who played. Arizona, Jacoby Brissett, 5 of 5, 44 yards and a touch. Slovis, who I liked. He was the one guy, Kurt Warner, at the Kurt Warner camp, played for USC pretty good, 7-9, 75 yards. And Gardner Minshew, 14-16, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. Oh, yeah, and by the way, Carson Beck had a mild injury, didn't play. That's who you want to see. So they don't have a good starter, but they got good quarterbacks. Brissett's a good backup. Slovis, I don't know. He looks good. Minshew is a good backup, and then it looks like Carson Beck could be a good starter, but we got to actually see him play. Rushing, Jeremiah Love, 11 rushes, 58 yards against the Oakland defense, so pretty weak. I don't know why they're playing him in the exhibition, but okay. Receiving, Love caught 3 balls for 14 yards. Brooks 6 for 52. And the Bourne 1 for 12. Is this the guy from New England? I don't know. Marvin Harrison Jr., he stinks, 1 for 7. He's really bad. You know, just because you go to Ohio State doesn't make you a good player. Just love the running back just because he went to Notre Dame. He's not a good running back. Mr. Mendoza, 10-16, 97 yards and a touchdown. Aiden O'Connell, who sucks, 4 of 13, 85. He sucked at Purdue. What makes you think all of a sudden he's going to be a good pro? I don't understand these guys. And Kirk Cousins, 5 of 6, 50 yards and a touchdown. I don't know. Mendoza got, 10-16 for 97 yards. We'll see. Rushing, Gentry did carry the ball 3 times for 16 yards, which I'm a little surprised. Mendoza 2 for 6. Receiving, I don't know if I'd know anybody anyway. Mike Meyer 2 for 2. And I don't see the stud. Yeah, I don't see Brock Bowers' name down here. So Max Myers played a little. Mike Myers. So are we impressed with Mendoza? 10 of 16, 97 yards. He does need to practice. He should be out there. Excuse me while I fix my glasses. He should definitely be out there. I mean, you've got to play the game. I don't understand the Lions who don't think they need to play their players. How can your offensive line not be out there? Well, they might get hurt. Well, if they don't play together, it doesn't matter because they're going to suck. You're going to waste 3 or 4 games getting them used to each other. That's what we heard last year in week 1. The communication was bad, and they lost to the Packers. And, well, maybe if you'd have played them in the preseason, the communication wouldn't have been bad. All right. So Oakland, I don't know. San Diego, Houston. San Diego is a 1-point favorite, does win. The total on the game, 37.5. I did say to go under if this was a regular game. 2 good defenses. And we do get an under 27-7. Maybe I can pick preseason. I won't, but maybe I can. I love to give a bar graph. Who the fuck wants to see a bar graph in football? All right, let's see. Trey Lance. I love this. Trey Lance, 12 of 20, 164 yards and an interception. And Uglia Buglia, 6 of 9 for 1 touchdown. What are these guys even doing? Why is Uglia Buglia even here? I don't get it. You'll never play him. If you do, you'll never win. So what's the point? And you have Herbert who needs it. Stacy, hello. Hello, K Hunt. And I don't like what you spelled. Who are you? Do we know who you are? And I don't like what you just wrote. So, do we know you? So I don't care what my customers are, but I don't like what you spelled. So we'll see you later. I apologize to my family here who I apologize to my family for seeing that crap. You won't see it anymore. I don't understand that. Why would you come on and say that like that? What is the point? Terrible. Okay, so again, Trey Lance, 12 of 120, but we know he stinks. And Uglia Buglia. So if whatchamacallit gets hurt, Herbert, you got nobody. And if you're going to Uglia Buglia, you're in big trouble. Rushing, Trey Lance wants to be a runner because he can't throw. Receiving, I don't know any of these guys. Let's see, Houston. Davis Mills, the Davis man, 9 of 15, 82 yards. And Graham Mertz, 4 of 7, 23. He sucks. And you don't want to sign Daggio, and this is Davis Mills and Mertz are your quarterbacks. And Daggio's 100 times better. It just doesn't make sense. Houston, he's better than C.J. Stroud, Daggio, so it really makes no sense what they have against Daggio. Was it the fact he wins all the time? Don't know. Well, he's too small. Yeah, it really stopped him from beating Alabama and almost beating Texas twice. Receiving, I don't know any of these guys. So again, Houston, great defense, and that's about it. But we did stay under. Tennessee, 19, Frisco 13. I did say to take the Niners as a home dog because Tennessee can't beat anybody. And Tennessee wins 19-13. So the Niners actually cover, but again, maybe I should start betting preseason, but just on the basis of the line. We got Cam Ward starting, 5 of 12, 57 yards. This is their starter. This is their problem. Will Levis, 3 of 8, 42 yards. Mitch Trubisky, 2 of 3, 23. And Hendon Hooker, 2 of 3, 17. Tennessee, they're not, the only game they're going to win is against the Jets because this team sucks. These quarterbacks, who's choosing the quarterbacks? What GM is this stupid to take these guys as your Mitch Trubisky? Because he's looked good everywhere. Cam Ward, he sucks. At what point do you think he's any good? Will Levis and Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker is the only one that maybe has a chance. The Niners. Adrian Martinez, what is he doing in the league? He sucked at Nebraska. 6 of 13, 159 yards. And Rourke from Indiana, 12 of 14, 101 yards. He's pretty good, actually. Rushing, 49ers. Adrian Martinez, 2 for 18. I love how the quarterbacks have to run. Receiving. If I'm the coach and my quarterback runs, he sits on the bench. Unless he's Joe Montana. Then he can run. Receiving. I don't know anybody there. So 19-13, Tennessee beating the third string of San Francisco. No Brock Purdy, no McCaffrey, no Evans. So today, we got Miami at Washington. Miami 3.5, 36. This is 7 o'clock. We've got Tampa Bay at the Jets. The Jets are 6.5. I would bet everything on Tampa getting 6.5 from the Jets. The Jets with no quarterback anyway. I don't even know who their quarterback is. So let's see today who they're going to play. Denver at Atlanta. Denver 3.5, 40. I under there. Cleveland and the Bears. Cleveland 3.5 point favorites and 40. You got to love the Bears getting 3.5 at home to Cleveland and Prime Junior. All of a sudden, Prime Junior is good. I must have missed something. Minnesota goes to the Giants. Minnesota's laying 241.5. Again, I'd probably take the Giants. Who's Minnesota's quarterback? They're going to play Kyler Murray? No, J.J. McCarthy's terrible. The Giants, they've got to get somebody that they can play. Carolina, Buffalo. Buffalo 38.5 over Carolina. Buffalo might win at home. New Orleans 1.5, 35.5 to Jacksonville. I think we can go. Let's see how good New Orleans is. This is a good game to kind of get a grasp. The Rams go to KC. KC 2.5, 36.5 game of the week. In a normal game, this would be the Rams getting 8.5. The Rams against anybody as a dog we're playing, including Philadelphia, and certainly KC or Denver. Mahomes, I will imagine, will play a series or two like Joe Burrow did. The good teams play their quarterback to get him the reps, but I think he needs to get on the field and feel comfortable with his knee. So I think Mahomes definitely gets out there. If not this week, then for sure next week. Before the start of the season, he wants to be on the field. And 2.5, 36.5. I don't know. The Rams, Ty Simpson's not very good. Big mistake not taking Dagiopava. If you're going to go that route, you took Ty Simpson. KC, we won't see Kenneth Walker, but that's a huge, huge advantage. Philly, Baltimore, Philly 3.5 and 37. This game's tomorrow. Let's see. Most of these are tomorrow. Denver, Atlanta was tonight. The Bear game's tomorrow at 1. The Giants tomorrow, Buffalo tomorrow, New Orleans tomorrow, the Ram game tomorrow, Philly, Baltimore tomorrow. Philly 3.5, 37, new coach for Baltimore. This is what you have with a lot of these teams is the new coach. So in the beginning, we're going to go with what's comfortable. We're going to play our regular coach and our regular. So like the Rams, you've got McVay, you've got Stafford. So we know what we got there. And KC, we got Reed, we got Spagnuolo, we got Mahomes. Denver, we know what we got. It's not really Buffalo, but Baltimore. I don't think there'll be a big change, but we'll see. Those are where the new coaches are. Chicago, we got the coach. Green Bay, we've got. Minnesota, we got a new quarterback, but he's an upgrade. Detroit's the same old crap. All right, Philly, Baltimore. So Philly 3.5, 37. You're not going to get much from Jalen Hurts. God knows he should play the whole game because he's terrible. Dallas at Seattle. People seem to think that Dak Prescott's good. I don't know where they're getting that from. He'll throw his 2 interceptions a game. Seattle 2.5, 39.5. But if it's Darnold, he's going to be in big trouble without his running attack this year. So we'll see. 2.5, 39.5. Seattle's much the better team there, but again in preseason. And that's it. So that be your preseason football. So let's go to Mr. Mark McGwire. Let's do a quick Egon and then we'll get to Mark.
China, India, Russia, they have a totally different way of planning. And that's the only thing that's right. It's like we take our little example of gold. We looked at it for many years, and then we went in the early 2000s at 300. And then, we haven't sold an ounce since then. And whenever we had more fans, we bought more. We are not worried about any correction on the way. There have been big corrections. We know that now we are in, as I said, a trend, which is the destruction of the monetary era. So this will continue for quite a while before it's finished.
The real reason you're stiff after sitting.
The idea that swallowing collagen makes collagen doesn't make any sense. And one thing that we ought to point out.
Okay, Mark McGwire, gold breakout, the gold reserve race has started. So again, we're like seeing that now. We did see a nice day. It's close to 4,400. We'll check when we leave. All right, so anyway, so we'll listen to a little of Mark. He came on yesterday morning, and but I was in a hurry because I had to get my hair cut. So anyway, here's Mark, but it's very positive. It's $10,000 gold on its way up. It's some silver, so we'll see.
Difficult, and yes, it's playing out nicely, but ideally not too fast. We need a few constructive pullbacks. We actually just got. We're recording this on Wednesday, and we just had CPI, and you always expect that kind of stuff.
Why do we need a pullback in a fake market? We should not need a pullback because this should be going up and up and up. The only reason you have a pullback, there's no demand, and that's it. And it just doesn't make sense. So I don't get this. Everybody thinks it should pull back. It shouldn't. All right.
Which is healthy. And the reason we don't want it just to go straight up, we don't want to present too much cell ignition fuel for the very, very wrong-footed commodity trading advisors who'd bet heavily against gold just before it broke out. Now, sustainable rallies require some constructive periods of consolidation. Small pullbacks are healthy. Later on,
this is in the paper world. We don't care about the paper world. In the physical world, there won't be pullbacks because the only way you get a pullback is if people are selling their gold. It's only a moron would sell their gold because that gets you back into paper. So no, a pullback in the physical market is not good and not needed and should not happening until you get a little bit more pricing.
We're going to look at the next month's third quarter and end of fourth quarter targets. That's going to be really interesting, and you'll be amazed. Spoiler alert. Here are the unchanged beginning of the year. Minimum 6,000 are still on. And we also look at the reasons $8,000 will become magnetic. So let's look sequentially at the footprints that followed the short-term bearish action into month-end Bank of International BIS squaring. You remember that's because the Fed has to square leased positions at the end of each month, and they mark them to market. They try and do it as low as possible. And we just recorded it literally a day before that. And these footprints were colliding with very, very large T+1 delivery, 400-ounce bar outflows into the the recently launched Hong Kong SGE hub, which has been underestimated. I've seen podcasts out there where they say this won't make any difference. It's beyond believable how much of a difference this is making, because this is further compressing the bearish paper versus physical gold spring, which was not factored in. Now, while the bearish paper market action into the end of July emboldened these commodity trading advisor shorts, they, along with an array of mainstream media commentators, got the wrong message until just as the trading desks thinned out.
Just a second, I got to block this pain in the ass user.
The wrong message.
Sorry about that.
Until just as the trading desks thinned out and the Hamptons holiday homes started filling up last Wednesday. The underestimated Hong Kong SGE physically driven upside breakout commenced, blindsiding them. Now, we've seen these midsummer structures play out before, but global gold has never experienced such strong midsummer central bank support. And this only lists official purchasers, not the much larger unreported monetary gold accumulations that we've been reporting for quite some time. Now, the most likely scenario was exactly what we've just experienced. A whale-sized, physically driven rally has now been triggered. And the bullish case for August continues to rest on a tightening physical market, accelerating Eastern price discovery, sustained bank and sovereign accumulations, shrinking LBMA 400-ounce liquidity, and the widening disconnect between leveraged paper selling and real deliverable physical demand. Now, as this divergence becomes harder to ignore, mainstream analysts are likely to recognize that the current weakness was not a bearish trend, but a spring-loaded event ahead of really what is going to become physical repricing. They are not onto the physical repricing yet, but they will be. I mean, the gold breakout commenced because, and this is the key, the reserve race has started. Mainstream media, once again, are chasing gold's breakout after the fact, blaming Iran's headlines, rate cuts, hopes. That's just noise. The real driver is a much bigger structural shift. Central banks and sovereigns are cutting exposure to ballooning US dollar debt and racing into first-tier physical gold. It's that simple.
Okay, so this is what we've been talking about. Nobody wants the dollar. They're all getting out of the dollar to buy gold. All these central banks that hold treasuries are selling it to buy gold. That's what's pushing the price up, which we already knew. That's what was pushing the price up. So it's just, strong demand for gold, strong demand to get out of the dollar, to get out of the paper that's worthless, and huge demand to get into gold. That's all it's been. And that's what's been, it's just finally getting noticed. Let me turn on my ear. It's just so exciting to have an air conditioner that works now, and it even like turns off and on. It's perfect. All right, so what's happening is the economy, is the market, the free market. We don't want dollars; they're worthless. You got a $40 trillion debt. You got to pay for all these wars. You got your Social Security. You got your big government, and your money's worthless. Who wants it? Nobody wants. So basically, there's no demand for the dollar. But we have a lot of people that own dollars. So they're all getting the hell out of the dollar and getting into gold, which is now a huge demand for physical, which is now putting it into gold is the only option, and it's got to be physical gold. That's what's pushing it up. That's what he's saying.
Japan provided the warning shot. It needs cash to defend a weakening currency, but selling too much of its more than 1.1 trillion treasury stack, what it does is risks putting the US yields, pushing the US yields higher and marking down the reserves it still holds. It's quite the condition. That is the treasury trap. And every major US dollar creditor can see it. Now, the Financial Times had already flagged the key point, which is Washington does not want foreign central banks freely using their dollar reserves if that destabilizes US markets. The translation of that is the dollar reserve asset is no longer as freely usable as advertised. Once that message lands, reserve diversification accelerates. There's only one scalable, neutral, zero counterparty reserve asset outside of the sovereign debt system. Physical gold, not paper promises, not another issuer's liability, first tier deliverable gold. And that's why the gold repatriation trend, the expanding Hong Kong SGE corridor, Laos's moved towards physically anchored price discovery, and South Korea's first central bank gold purchase in 13 years. All of these things matter. These are not isolated headlines. They're just a few visible confirmation signals of a much wider gold de-dollarization move, which we're actually seeing this expand into Singapore, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Africa, Latin America. What it's also doing is sucking in unfactored Western participation. as the global-facing SGE vortex gathers momentum. And as we drew attention to last time, the Laos integration was especially important because it marked the Southeast Asia's first clear move away from paper-diluted, cash-settled LBMA fixes and towards the Hong Kong SGE architecture and its physically determined HAU price ticker, which is physically determined. And this is how true physical price discovery starts to migrate east, corridor by corridor, exchange by exchange, and sovereign by sovereign. The race is actually now on. And more recently, South Korea, as I say, announced its first gold purchase in 13 years. Citing, what do they cite? Persistent geopolitical risks. They cited gold's role as an inflation hedge. Goodness me, I mean, seems like this is too old school. And its potential as an alternative to the US dollar. But this is not the signal. Central banks and sovereigns are not waiting for permission. They're cutting exposure to ballooning US dollar debt and racing into first-tier physical gold. Gold is not...
So when I tell you the US dollar is bankrupt and you don't believe me and you go, well, and then say when there's no more demand is when it blows up. And this is what's happening. There's no demand for it. Everybody who has it is selling it. All the governments are selling it. The only people that really get fucked are the people living in America who use the dollar, who won't know it's worthless. They won't really, except for our class, most people don't understand it's worthless. I did tell the hairstylist yesterday, the dollar's worthless. You need to get out of it. So I did say that, but that's it. It's a very overproduced. It has no value, and people are showing you it has no value. They're going to start pulling their stocks. That's coming next, and then they'll sell their houses, and those two collapses will be happening soon. But the normal person goes to Kroger's and buys their milk and eggs and go, everything's fine, except for the prices are much higher now. So that's one of the points to note. The demand for gold is up. That'll drive the price up. They're getting out of dollars, out of treasuries, and buying more gold and silver. Tells you there's no demand for the dollar. So that's the signals you have to read. Japan selling their dollars, selling their treasuries to get back in the yen to buy gold. That's what you got to notice. China's already done it. Russia's done it. India's done it. Most of the countries are Saudi Arabia out of the treasuries into the gold. And why are they doing it? Because they know it's worthless. I'm telling you, it's worthless. So pay attention to the whole picture as we do with football and baseball. All right.
Breaking out because of short-term headlines. It's breaking out because the reserve system is changing right beneath the surface. US dollar debt is ballooning, treasury liquidity is constrained, and sovereign reserve managers are moving toward the only asset that carries no issuer risk, physical gold. Now, against this backdrop of 100% gold-backed yuan RMB, it's no coincidence that Project MMcgwire is now being brought into a global focus. Now, we've been looking at this for some years, its process. Now it's front and center. What it's doing is broadening the cross-border payment network that already includes the PBOC, Hong Kong, Thailand, United Emirates, and Saudi Arabia. It's just basically ballooning from that base, which is well established. And a quick reminder of what actually MMcgwire is and how under the radar, alongside the PBOC, who is clearly aggressively accumulating gold, MMcgwire is the settlement infrastructure that facilitates a gold-backed or gold-referenced yuan, so it's practical at scale. And it allows China and its trading partners to move RMB cross-border quickly and outside the dollar-controlled rails. And while gold provides the credibility, collateral, and the trust anchor, to all of those transactions. Together, MBridge and physical gold strengthen the yuan's role as a trade settlement currency, and it increases gold's influence in the emerging non-dollar monetary system. So MBridge internationalizes the yuan with plumbing, not politics. This is not political. It creates a faster, cheaper, central bank grade cross-border payment system, simply bypasses the dollar-denominated correspondent banking rails. A gold-backed or gold-referenced RMB becomes far more credible if it can settle instantly across borders. Gold provides the trust anchor for this. MBridge provides the payment infrastructure. So really, it's just a perfect marriage. And it strengthens the appeal of RMB for trade settlement amongst countries that really just want to reduce their dollar exposure, but still need confidence in final settlement value and its liquidity. Gold becomes the neutral collateral behind a new payment architecture. It's that simple. Trade partners can settle in RMB through MBridge while referencing physical gold reserves, and Shanghai pricing and physical gold liquidity then gain more influence. It's a serendipitous relationship. And the link, what it does is links digital settlement to hard asset credibility. Now, this is so cutting edge. The RMB becomes not just a state-issued currency, but a gold-supported trade unit moving through a non-dollar payment network. And there's nothing that anyone can do to stop it. The strategic impact is de-dollarization. MBridge reduces dependence on SWIFT, on the correspondent banking, while gold reduces dependence on US Treasury collateral and dollar confidence. So bottom line, the race into first-tier gold has already started. The market is only just beginning to price it in. And now, in preparation for the wider SGE Global Corridor rollout, China is consolidating Hong Kong's role, anchoring gold trading around physical bullion, official sector flow.
All right, let's see.
On the system and tightens the float. Encouragement of synthetic upside potential, that should be viewed as less than neutral market strategy and more as an attempt to manage the form of bullish participation that they can manage. Physical gold demand removes metal from the system and tightens the float. By contrast, synthetic gold demand creates dealer-managed exposure that can be diluted, capped, rolled, expired, or hedged against. Hey, have we seen that story before? For a primary, this is a primary dealer and dominant market maker with a significant derivatives footprint. The incentive is so obvious. Concede the bullish story publicly. Oh yeah, how can you ignore it? And keep the expression that this bullishness, keep it inside a structure that the house can intermediate and, where possible, suppress. Just drill down a little, and hidden in plain sight, JP Morgan has been wrong-footed, not on their own house position because it's long and strong, but on the float they handle for the Fed. Primary dealer, the CFTC's own reporting framework shows that bank and swap dealer positioning is not a sideshow in gold at all. It's essential to price formation. The latest publicly available COT data show managed money adding length into a rally while the swap dealers absorb the flow by deepening a large net short position against them. So to sum that up, gold's bullish turn is already visible on the tape. We've got higher floors, resilient dips, rising retail interest, expanding call open interest. Come on, JP Morgan cannot hide that shift. So the strategy is to control how investors express it. And rather than encouraging outside physical buying, JP Morgan steers demand into options, call spreads, synthetic COMEX structures, where dealers, they are the dealers, writing the exposure, hedging the flow, capping rallies, and managing expiry outcomes. So really, in short, the bullish gold story is being conceded publicly. There's just one more attempt to contain rallies synthetically. Now, all I'm saying is be careful. While the physically backed Hong Kong SGE HOU contract is steadily arbitraging underpriced CME diluted CMA spot gold, it only takes one bid pulled thin condition, raid, which we've seen into month ends, we've seen it constantly. It only takes one to take out synthetic structures, while in the larger picture, physical gold continues to reset higher. So be very careful if you're playing in the game they've set up for you to play in.
Hey, Andrew, we're getting a lot of questions here from our viewers, and one common theme that I'm noticing is they're looking for your views on the shorter term in these markets.
Yeah, and that is important. So, I mean, very short term, I guess let's look at the changing narrative, starting with an interesting analysis from Deutsche Bank. So this is more of the same, really, but it's different in a sense, because it actually have a lot of people thinking. So they came out, along with Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and every other single bank. They're all long for their own books. We know that. So when Deutsche Bank comes out and makes an assessment, we need to look at what they're really trying to say. What's interesting about these public-facing targets is that really is why they are grossly underpriced by these insiders. And I've got here, Deutsche Bank's headline analysis maintained a long-standing forecast for gold to average 4,600 an ounce in the fourth quarter of 2026, before rising to an annual average of 5,100 in 2027, 5,442 in 2028. Okay. Here's the problem. Deutsche Bank's analysis, while it is useful, it remains anchored in historical price inputs generated in a predominantly paper-driven market structure. Those price inputs reflect decades of unallocated leverage and cash-settled price formation, where synthetic supply diluted physical scarcity and suppressed price discovery. That makes the bank's lower price extrapolation structurally flawed, because they assume the old pricing regime remains the correct ref point, which it is not. Post-Basel III, and now through physically settled venues such as Hong Kong and Shanghai Gold Exchange, the market is shifting towards settlement, deliverability, and real demand clearing, real physical supply-demand clearing. And as this synthetic dilution loses influence and physical availability matters more, forecast prices will have to reset substantially higher, while paper-derived downside scenarios will just become increasingly obsolete. Gold?
So that's like, hey, Pat, listen, silver bond market is collapsing. Yeah, Japan's doing their part. So when MMcgwire is just saying that Deutsche Bank's putting a $5,000 gold, they're looking at paper. They haven't figured the variables have changed. Like I do in football, when a new coach, a new quarterback comes in, the variables change. You can't look at the old variables and say this is what's going to happen. You now have to create new variable, like Ben Johnson at the Bears. And so Deutsche Bank's way off. Oh, it'll be 5,000 next year. No, gold's going to be 10,000 soon. They're just waiting. They don't want to run it up too fast, supposedly, but we need the physical price, and we'll get that. Pat, U.S. long bonds are looking terrible. Well, they'll be over 5%, and then the stock market crashes. The dollar's already crashed, but nobody really knows it. The new variable is to buy. Well, the new variable is gold and silver. If you have physical gold and silver, you will survive, and that's the only way to survive. Yes, you can have your Mantle card, but what do you sell it for, right? Gold, I guess. So I would sell this card for gold. Your Rolex watch, you might want to sell for gold, but that's what you're going to go and shop and eat for is with gold and silver. I just got a haircut yesterday. Soon I'll be paying her a quarter ounce of gold or of silver for the haircut because who's going to want to take dollars? Good to see you, Pat. Hope everybody's well. Hope mom's okay. What's going on in Singapore? Everything okay? They're still not getting that gold price to where like the 10,000 it should be. Do you do much shopping at the stores, or you're kind of already bought out? Like I'm already bought out. All my money is already into is in the physical at this point. So I don't have this bank account where I can go buy more gold. It's depleted, and I'm much happier with it. I was talking to the hairdresser yesterday. I was teaching her about gold and silver. She was new. And I said, I sleep fine because I'm not worrying that the stock market's going to crash or my housing market crash. I know I'm fine. My gold's going up. And it was, as I showed earlier, it went from 43.10 all the way back to 43.90. We should hopefully see a 44. I thought we'd see 45 by the end of the week, but since it's August 14th, I'd say by next week we should see 46, 4,700. So it should just keep jumping higher. Pricing hasn't moved much. Yeah, well, they're still using the COMEX price. We need to collapse COMEX because the demand for gold is going to be huge. And I think when people start seeing it go past 5,000, then everybody jumps in, right? When they see it go up, I better buy some. Now when it goes down, they don't understand. They can't think like that. So they don't understand when the price goes down to buy it. They say, it's going down. I better get out of it. And it's really the reverse. When it goes down, it's a great buying opportunity because we know at the end of the tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel is $20,000 gold because it's the only money. It's extremely limited and the demand is huge. So as soon as you know that, you just keep buying the shit out of it. Just wait when the credit markets freeze. 2020 will look like a picnic. Yeah, well, they're freezing. Again, everybody's jumping out of it. I think Japan is the start of it. Japan's collapsing because they just keep printing their money and they held their interest rate down. And I think that Japan will be the first, and then all the other countries will see what's going. They'll want to pull their stocks out of the stock market. If they have any, they're already pulling their bonds out and buying gold with it. And then they'll sell their houses. If they have houses here, they'll sell them. And then that'll collapse that market and the bond market and the stock market. And we'll be sitting there, the cat that swallowed the canary, going, hey, we got gold. We're fine. We understood what's going on. Most people don't understand it. That's why they're going to get burned. That's why people always get burned. 1923 in Germany, if you just had gold and silver, you would have been fine. Not holding on to Reichsmarks and getting a wheelbarrow. We will not need a wheelbarrow with gold and silver. We'll be fine with an ounce of gold in our pocket. We'll be fine. But everybody else will need the wheelbarrow going to Kroger's going, it's $1,000 to buy a milk. And that's what will happen there. All right, a little more MMcgwire.
This breakout is being driven by a shift from rate-sensitive liquidation back to structural accumulation, led by Chinese demand, technical buying, central bank support, and renewed monetary debasement hedging. Also, lower oil prices have eased inflation and rate fears. It's less important because we're seeing the mechanical dislocations anyway. And that's reducing pressure on real yields and lowering the opportunity cost of holding gold. So really, Shane, I think to drill down into that question a little more deeply and to answer these subscriber questions on what to expect in the shorter term, let's pop in to the live charts and track the very short-term footprints. So picking up from where we were on July the 29th, which was just before the BIS squaring event, that mark-to-market event, gold has broken out above key technical resistances, quickly gaining its 50-day moving average, which triggered a layer of short stops, and moving through what was really a previously capped 4,100 to 4,200 congestion zone. And that's triggered the first real layer of CTA, Commodity Trading Advisor, algo buying, and short covering. Now, as summed up nicely by Goldman, again, recorded here by Zero Hedge, China has re-engaged as a major buyer, with Shanghai open interest jumping sharply, Chinese gold ETF inflows extending, and an upsurge of physical demand forcing commercials, and this is our take, forcing commercials exposed to T+1 delivery 400-ounce bar outflows on the long side of capping events. Now, into these physically...
Let me read Pat. So Pat said, here's a famous quote from someone in the former Soviet Union. We pretended that we were productive and they paid us in something they pretended to have value. That's what the dollar is. This has no value. And neither of these things have any value, right? This has zero value. All it is, it has a 5 on it. And this we know has no value. So this is the Ponzi scheme, and it will die, as all of them have. If they're not backed by gold, they're just pieces of paper with a number on it. So if you're in Europe and you want to get coffee, you probably need 20 of these. And here we need what's the Starbucks, $6, $7? I don't know. I don't drink it, but probably close to it. And the value is the gold and silver. Or here, this has value. This is a mantle card. We know it has value, right? And we know the Rolex does, and we know real assets have value. Very low supply, very high demand. So that's the key to it. But yeah, that's exactly, well, we're working, but the value, when you give me money for my football, I turn it into silver. I Rumpelstiltskin it, right? I get $100. Somebody pays me for my work. I run and buy gold, silver with it. I don't want the dollars, but I have to take the dollars in order to change it into silver. Nobody can pay me silver because it's electronic, right? You're going to pay me on PayPal. Here's $100. That gets walked over to, I buy silver with it because the $100 is really worthless, but the silver has value. So that's a good point.
Inputs. Gold, and we're looking at the futures chart here, has short squeezed itself out of a 6-week capped range. And this was really 6 weeks of capping pretty much at this level here. And as we expected at the time and did stay, there would be very little, once we broke through that, there would be very little in the way of a good hard test of the 430 intact bull pivot confluence, which looked to be constructively consolidating. A brief period of consolidation around current levels, which is around this level here, would actually be preferable. However, the 45.92 38250 here is potentially, it looks extremely compelling. And it's really, there's a lot of technical analysis that we could go through, but these fiber ranges are absolutely what institutionals are looking at. And certainly that's not suggesting that you have to trade those on a 10-minute chart. A 4-hour chart is pretty much the best view of this. Now, with the SGE HAU physical fixes increasingly arbitraging long term, there's a couple of links. links here, which I thought were worth sharing, again from Marketeer. Silver is also displaying the same bullish inputs, both short and
This is
longer
silver.
term. There's a couple of links here, which I thought were worth sharing, again from Marketeer. It broke through its 64 resistance. Again, now we're looking at the next resistance at 68. Well, that isn't going to be long before it gets breached, because the 200 is coming to view. And guess who missed it? The speculators. They got out just before the squeeze was higher. Now, that was absolutely orchestrated by the commercials, 100%. We talked about it before. So basically, what we're looking at now is the move above the 50, and we agree that bigger resistance comes through at about 72, which is the 200-day moving average. Actually, we can adjust that a little to what it really should be. And if we scroll down to where the moving averages are. Now, the reason I've got two 200-day moving averages here. The reason I put both in.
See, this is all paper bullshit, which we really don't care about because we got physical. I don't care what the 200-day moving average. That's all stock talk. We're not talking stock. We're talking physical gold and silver, just like the Mantle card, just like the Brady cards, the Montana cards. We're not looking at moving averages instead. And this is the problem with COMEX. They're looking, it jumped up, they'll short it. And that's been our problem. They'll think it's overbought, so they sell it. And this is all a problem. In the physical world we live in, as I show you eBay a lot, you don't have that shit. Montana rookie cards, 100,000 is still 100,000. It doesn't go down. There's no 200-day moving average. So I don't know why gold and silver are looked at as stocks with all this bullshit of 200-day moving averages or 50-day moving average. It's physical. It's a huge demand and low supply, and that's the bottom line. Pat, suddenly the paper markets will be halted. Yeah, well, and then Shanghai comes in with the physical market, and that's what happens because everybody in the paper market wants to take physical. They're only in there because they want to buy the silver at 66, which probably in Shanghai or in Singapore it's probably 75 or 80, and so they can get it cheaper on COMEX. So but they want to take delivery, but you can't. They don't have it. There is no gold and silver to take delivery of. They want to pay you in money, not in gold and silver, and that's what will blow it up. Yeah, that's when it is over, and we're this far from it being over, and then getting the physical. See, even the physical market that you allude to in Singapore, they're still using the COMEX as the base. Oh, gold's 4,400, so we'll mark the physical 4,420. When the physical should be 10,000, but they don't have it, so they're going off of that. That's, I think, the key point. So let's see. So why? Where are we at? 34. Silver's breakout and why silver could double from current. So these are our last two segments.
Is because silver is basically trading as an expiring futures contract, so it should be trading at par. However, the spot adjusted number, and it's spot really that determines the real price. This is purely synthetic. The spot price is actually 71.74. So yes, in round number 72, but that's rising every day a little. But essentially a breach of that, and we're going to see probably some foot stamping on an attempt at 70.71, but I think we're going to see some also buying coming through at the 100-day moving average, which is what we saw in gold right here. So silver's breakout is gaining reinforcement from positioning, systematic flows, and options demand. We see some light managed money positioning, very, very small, and they've only just started to get back in. Leaves lots of room for fresh fund buying to extend the rally. And we have dollar weakness, and silver's divergence point to really further catch-up potential. So we're seeing CTA short covering and renewed call buying. It's all adding fuel to the move. And much like we looked at the Fibonacci retracements, this is also a determinant of the daily spot chart, which is basically 64.84, and we're going to likely see 75.87. A pit close above the 71.74 200-day moving average with strength and confirmation, and will accelerate upside momentum. You'd be amazed how quickly silver can rise. And one thing that we ought to point out is that
silver will be going to 500. That's what we know. We see this bullshit and the moving air and all that crap. Doesn't mean anything. The key is there demand for physical silver? Absolutely. Is there a supply problem in silver? Absolutely. You don't have a lot of silver and the demand's huge. That pushes the price up. All the rest of what he just said is bullshit. Yeah, it goes to 75.80. It's $500 an ounce. It's $1,000 an ounce based on the fact that there's huge demand and low supply, and you can't print it. And the same thing in gold 10,000, because all the central banks are getting out of the paper and buying. There's not that much gold left. There's only 200,000 tons, and BRICS probably owed 75% of it. So when these banks want the gold, they're going to go to China, and they're going to pay, if it's 5,000, 6,000 for it. China's not going to let them have it cheap, and that'll rise the price as the demand goes, and that'll be the key. All right, a little more with...
People are talking about the lease rates and not reflecting a tight market. But what it is while the paper market unallocated short covering means London lease rates do not yet fully reflect emerging physical tightness because of cash settlement, strong physically settled global demand should quickly arbitrage the paper squaring lag and rapidly tighten the local London float. Recording this on Wednesday, and today, silver, driven by close to 12.75, close to 13% Shanghai silver premiums, and Chinese ETF re-engagement, spot silver just fixed at its highest level since the 17th of June, in very strong physical demand. So while on silver, let's look at what to expect. As institutional refiner and hedging flows migrate into the Hong Kong SGE trading hub architecture, silver is also benefiting from gold's physical settlement structure, leaching silver out of the LBMA cartel ring fence. We experienced $10 downside intraday moves in silver as the price reset closer to physical demand prices. That was on the way down. Now, $10 intraday upside moves will simply accelerate a move above the 200-day moving average, after which don't rule out a very quick rinse of short stop layers, ultimately resulting in a doubling of current synthetically influenced prices into $140 by the end of the fourth quarter. Silver continues to look extremely attractive at current prices. And as we opened with, and we talked about $6,000 gold, and we talked about $8,000 gold. And essentially what we're seeing here, it is unfactored the difference that a physical settlement and the arbitrage flows between the HAU after it was launched versus the gold fixes has forced commercials and those making markets, and the fixes have to be NSFR compliant at the fix, forced them to raise the bid. And that is why our liquidity providers, global facing liquidity providers, see such a dramatic move higher that we do expect $6,000 gold and $8,000 gold potentially into the end of the fourth quarter. So this is not pie in the sky. We've seen a full retracement. We've seen a full settlement. And a lot of this happened very close to the 38250. And now we are looking at a potential move higher. There is nothing here to stop a gold rising. And of course we expect healthy pullbacks along the way. And we would view any pullback into the high 38s to be bargain territory. So I'll leave it at that. other than to say gold and silver are extremely attractive.
Very underpriced, which we already know, Mark. All right, let's check our gold now. So we're at 43.82, which is good. I mean, we'd gotten down low to 43.20. So this is a nice move. We haven't had that 10 o'clock drop, which might be happening now. And this is a joke. $65 silver. It was 66. There's no reason for it to fall. Just a bunch of bullshit. Your free plays in baseball today. Cincinnati under 7.5. Burns against Alcantara, 2 aces going. And Atlanta under 8. We got Chris Sale against, I can't remember who, going for, okay, just a second. Let me give you that. So it's Chris Sale against Brandon Pfaadt on Arizona, who actually is pitching very well with a 2.53 ERA. So take Atlanta under 8, and we've got and then we got Cincinnati, Miami under 8. So both are under 8. And those are, 4 good pitchers going, should be under. And that's baseball. Football, you got to be careful with that. Again, it's preseason. Like Joe Burrow did play like 2 series. He hit Chase on a pass, and then that was it. So, but they got that continuity. They got on the field through the pass. Okay, they don't need to play the whole game. They don't need to play a half. I would think Mahomes will play today. Jared Goff, he doesn't need to work. He just likes to throw interceptions on his own. Thanks for pressure. I have to go. You are the educator, gold standard. Take care. Thank you, Pat. Have a good day. Keep everything in Singapore good for us. I might be looking for a house there. God knows what's happening in the U.S. Anyway, I do like to visit it. I see it on The Amazing Race, and it looks like a nice little city. So I might keep an eye on it. God knows you can't go to Europe. All the dollars are fucked. It's hard to vacation in Europe now with everything. Anyway, so keep in mind the key to gold and silver is the physical market, not the paper. We don't want to be ETFs or stocks. The demand is huge because everybody's realizing, all the banks understand that the dollar's worthless. So they have to get out of it. So they're selling their treasuries. They're going to sell their stocks. They're going to get into their currency to buy gold with it. So everybody's running to buy gold, but we know it's very limited, 200,000 tons. And silver's 1 million tons, of which most of it's already gone. And the difference is gold is indestructible. So it's not being fired in a weapon, and you can't melt it. You can't freeze it. At worst case, it sits at the bottom of the ocean, still fine. Nothing you can do to gold. It's indestructible. Silver, you fire it in a missile, it's gone. So there's probably less than 1 million tons because of these wars that make it go bye-bye. These wars are a joke. Why are we at war? Because we are Hitler. We want to steal your oil and gold. That is why they are in Iran, and that's why they are fighting Russia. And don't kid yourself, it's the U.S. fighting Russia. It's NATO fighting Russia. It's not the Ukraine. They don't have an army. They don't have anything. So they're the ones fighting because they want Russia's oil and gas and gold. It's the same Hitler story. He went to Czechoslovakia and Poland at the start of World War II to steal their gold from the central banks. That's what he did. They had a lot of gold. If you remember some of the monument men, there was a whole scene where they got all this gold sitting in a cave in a salt mine. Hitler was smart enough to understand gold, even though Trump isn't. We have no gold in Fort Knox. If we did, we need to see it. You have to prove it. Do I have a mantle card? Prove it. There it is. There's a mantle card. I have the other one also. You have to prove it. You can't just say, I saw the gold in Fort Knox. Is it 999? And is it even ours or is it China's? Because we sold all our gold to China. So we don't have any gold. So it's probably China's gold. If it's even 999, which I doubt it. They tried to sell Germany. It was not 999 when Germany wanted their 300 tons back. So the key is you have high demand. You have low supply equals high prices in anything you want to do. That is the key formula. So you're always looking for things that are highly demanded with low supply. That is bingo. And that's that one Brady card I have, that foil card that's a refractor. It's really pretty. And again, very high demand. It's Brady and very low supply because they didn't make a lot of refractors, although they didn't number it. So I see it for 175 grand. So I'm curious to get my card graded. I showed you this poker hand yesterday, but let's revisit it because we do like talking poker here.
You're getting a whole lot more with Arby's Meat and 3. 3 sides. Your choice.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt as it goes.
Yeah, that's good. Ball Nui. 7-4, folded. Now to Scott C. 29-year-old pro with 1 bracelet. King 10 of spades.
I love Scott, but he dresses every day like he's on summer vacation between 7th and 8th grade.
He's got $11 million in live earnings, raised to $1.2 million from Scott Siever.
Rick Solomon dresses like he doesn't give a damn.
German pro, Christoph Vogelsang folds his button. Coleman in the small blind, Jack 9 of diamonds.
Start out at 9.6.
Coleman looks more stylish in black than in white.
He folds his small blind to Tobias Reichenmeyer with aces.
German-born, lives in London. His favorite city is Melbourne. And just before 1 drop, he visited San Diego and loved it. What's not to love?
Reichenmeyer with the aces just calls. I guess he doesn't want to scare Siever off.
Just calls. What the fuck are you doing just calling with aces? He's already put in $1.5 million, Siever. So even if you win the pot and you don't go all in, but let's say you raise it up. I would have raised it up to like 400,000. But I guess they're playing millions now. It's a tournament. So I would have raised it up to, let's say, 4 million. Let's see what you do. Now he probably calls to see a flop, but I'm letting him know, you know, at worst case, I win the $1.5 million plus the blinds and antes. That's the whole point of the game, right? To win. The best case, he calls my $4 million raise, and now and I know I got the best hand. I got aces pre-flop. He can't have me beat. That's the point. That's when aces are good, pre-flop. Once the flop comes, they're not good. You think they are, but they're really not. All right, so let's go to part 2.
Well, Seaver has a relatively short stack, so Tobias is going to slow play these aces.
All right, here's the flop. Heads up. 4 queen deuce. Rankemeier's aces are not threatened.
These two have played a lot of super high rollers together.
Rankemeier checks his aces. Seaver's king 10 must be playing in a different game because there's nothing there in this flop.
Seaver hopes a continuation bet ends matters. It will not.
You think this is a leak in a lot of pros, don't you? That continuation
Oh,
bet is
sure.
a continuation loss. $1.5 million from Seaver with the C bet, as they say.
And this is setting up perfectly for Rankemeier. He's got Seaver right where he wants him, Lon.
Well, Rankemeier slow played the aces pre-flop. What does he want to do here? Well, just a call.
Okay, this guy might be the dumbest pro I've ever seen. You've now let 2 clubs come out and a queen. Maybe he had ace queen and he hit the queen. I mean, who knows? You don't know what he's got. Maybe he's got jacks. Maybe he's got kings or something. Probably isn't going away. I would now put him all in. I saw the flop. I got aces. There's 2 clubs on board. I don't want the 3rd club to come out. He might have a flush draw. I'm pushing at least 5 million in. Because now I've got him, he's in for 3 million. I don't know what his stack is. He's got like 5-6 million left. I'm all in. I'm not, what am I fucking around with? Letting him try to, this is the biggest problem these so-called professional, and I say it loosely because they're not professional, poker players do, is they're slow playing a weak hand. Pocket aces is not big here, right? Now there's 2 clubs on the board. He has 4 clubs. That's a flush. 5 clubs, you lose. So and maybe he had queen and a 9 and a queen hit. He's got queens. He catches 2 pair. You're fucked. So at what point are you way ahead? But you've got him betting into you. So now are you prepared for his next bet on the turn? So you're calling with aces. Pre-flop and then flop, you're calling with aces. You're trapping him. Are you really? He probably doesn't have much. So now are you prepared for the all-in bet that he's going to make? Have you figured out, I'm going to trap him pre-flop. I'm going to trap him on the flop. He doesn't know what I have, but when he goes all in, I'm prepared to call him. That is the problem with slow playing. They go all in, and are you prepared to call it? And we'll see what this idiot does.
Uh-oh, Seaver's gone into DEFCON mode.
He does have that other side of him. Turn card now. Jack of clubs. Rankemeier still best. Seaver now open-ended. And Tobias has to worry now about a 3rd club on board.
Will Rankemeier continue to let Seaver stab at it?
Tobias check again.
If I saw Scott sitting on a park bench like this, I'd figure his wife had left him or his dog had been run over by a car or he just ate some really bad bulgogi. We saw him continuation bet on the flop. Then when he keeps betting on the turn, I call that C-bet squared. It can win you a lot of pots or it can get you in a lot of trouble. I never C-bet square.
All in. Wow, there's a playa.
How much is that?
All in for over 6.8 million.
Boy, Seaver dangling.
So now the aces doesn't know what to do. Why did you slow play? He goes all in. He thinks you maybe have a pair. He's trying to bluff you out. He's looking like he has 4 clubs. The question aces need to ask is, why does he go all in? If he wants me to call, if he has a flush, he's never going all in. He wants me to call because he's got me. So what is he doing here? Why the all in? There's only one reason, to get me to fold. That's it. If he's got a flush, he's not going to go all in because he wants me to call. If you have a big hand, you don't make an all-in bet because you want the guy to call you. It's as simple as that. So what's he doing? So he wants to call. He's not getting it. This guy ends up folding. Well, we'll show you that.
Rankemeier has slow played his aces exquisitely. He's played like he's not strong. Now he's a bit unsure and in a dicey spot.
6.825.
Scott Seaver applying maximum pressure, or the maximum pressure he has, to Rankemeyer, who has the bigger stack.
But it's not pressure. It's an obvious bluff. He went all in. He doesn't want you to call. That's the point of the all in. He doesn't want you to call. At best, he's got a baby flush, but then would he have made the bets he made before? If he had 6-5 of clubs, is he making a $1.5 million and $1.5 million bets? No, he's just calling. Then as he got 4 clubs, now he hits the 5th club. He's checking. He's not betting with the flush. He's slow playing you because I got a flush. At worst, he's maybe making another $2 million bet because he wants you to call because he's got the flush. There's no straight out there. I'm kind of surprised. Actually, I think Seaver made a big mistake here. I think he should have called because he's on a flush draw. And on the flush draw or straight draw, he could have got the straight and won a big pot because it was kind of hidden King 10. So he could have made a lot more money. He could have made a lot more money checking back, hitting the straight on the river. He could have got a big price. But what he did here, I thought it won him the hand, but I think it cost him because he actually had the straight draw. But once he goes all in, he's bluffing because there's no point. If he hits the flush, he wants you to call him. So it's a very simple game psychology of why you must want me to fold. You went all in. I say that all the time at the table.
Scott, I was trapping.
This is for 2/3 of his remaining chips. If Tobias calls here and loses his hand, he'd be down to 5 big blinds.
Am I allowed to tell my hand? The best.
Everyone knows your hand anyways.
Really? What is my hand?
It was either king, queen, or ace queen. The only thing you would ever call.
You're wrong, man.
Oh, wow.
I'm better than.
Ooh, that's a nice hand.
The best starting hand possible in poker.
Nice. With the club?
With the club, I would have paid the bet already.
I understand. Sometimes there's just nothing you can do.
I know.
It's brutal, though.
I know, it is brutal.
And on one drop, too. Yeah.
I know, it's like not...
But you can't sweat it, These things just happen.
I could still throw my hand away. No.
I would look at you a little,
I know you would.
I would think less of you.
I know you would. I know.
To his credit, Scott seems very comfortable. He just looks and sounds so casual and confident. I might think he's holding a monster.
I know, Scott, but honestly, I'd rather disappoint you and get away if you're ahead. And, Yeah, I know.
Okay. I think I should shut up now.
Okay, that's the other tell that he's bluffing. The fact he talked was shocking because normally when you're bluffing, you don't say anything. But the aces keeps trying to get a tell on the guy. He keeps looking at him for the tell. But the problem is he already got the tell. The tell was the all in. That's the tell. That's a bluff. Because there's no reason for the all in at this point. The all in is to get you to fold. 99% of the all ins are to get you to fold. Even when you have, let's say he hit a flush. Let's say you got 2 pair, but there's 3 clubs out there. So you would still go all in to get you so you would fold and not catch the flush. So there's the positive all in because I have a hand and I don't want you to catch the straight or the flush. And then there's the all in we're seeing where I don't have anything, but if I make a big bet, you'll fold because you won't have a lot of chips left. Either way, I want you to fold. And therefore, if he had a good hand, why would you go all in? You would want me to fold. If you had a big hand, you'd want to get paid off. So you would never go all in. If he had the flush there, if he had ace king of clubs and he's got the nut flush, is he going all in? Never. He's probably checking, hoping a fourth club comes off because he's got it. So there's no way in the world he's got a hand by going all in because he would want to get paid off. So it's an obvious bluff in our world because we analyze and very analytically going, the all in is to get me out. If he had a hand, he'd want me to call.
I mean, you don't have the ace queen.
He's right.
It's unlikely. I don't think you would jam the king queen there.
He's right again.
So what does he have with that he jammed with?
You could have king 10 or 10-9, of course, with club, but even against those hands, I wouldn't normally fold this. You know that, Scott. But you don't put me on aces either.
He keeps looking at him for a tell, and he misses the tell as the all in.
Scott doesn't look as comfortable now.
Sorry, I just gotta. This is a really tough spot. And it's quite a big final table too.
See, he can't. What tell does he think he's going to see that's going to say he's bluffing? The guy already talked. The guy's just sitting there staring at the table. It's the all-in bet. That's the tell, and it's way over his head. That's why I doubt these guys are pros, or they're very bad pros.
Tobias Rankemeyer in the middle of a very difficult decision, trying to figure out if his pocket aces are good against Scott Seaver and his all-in. We, of course, know Scott does not have a made hand. Clock. All right, you see Daniel Negreanu
Daniel,
calls the clock, as is
little
his
bastard.
right.
Tobias has taken nearly 10 minutes with this decision.
Clock started at 9:15.
So now Tobias has 1 minute.
You and on tonight.
For his hand is dead.
My doctor doesn't examine me this thoroughly.
For all of Seaver's chips and almost all of Rankemeyer's chips.
Well, Tobias with the best hand, but if he's up against a flush, he's drawn dead. If he's up against a set, he's got 2 outs. If he's up against 2 pair, he's way behind.
Rankemeyer running out of time. And he folds.
There's no chance that's aces. That would
Impossible.
be no chance. How do we do that?
Rankemeyer is stunned.
What a risky move from Seaver.
All right. Does he do that with the set? He wouldn't have made the bet on the flop. Maybe he gets the set on the turn. Is he making that bet? No, he wants to get called. Is he worried about the flush? I don't know. He's played weak. The aces did never bet. That's why you bet the aces. If you bet it pre-flop, when he went in with King 10, if you would have made it 5 million, either the hand's over or you could see by his reaction, if he doesn't call you, go all in, you know you've got him. And, you know, does he get lucky and flop the set or turn the set? You know, maybe he's calling with the pair, but you have no idea. But at least you made the bet. But to fold on a bluff is crazy. You know, could he have a flush? Absolutely not. Never. He could never have a flush and go all in there. He'd want to get called. Could he have the set? I would still think it would be part of a bet, not a all in. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I think Seaver should have waited to see the river. He would have made more money by just checking, seeing the river. If the river is another club, then he could bluff it. If the Maybe he catch. Well, he didn't even have a pair. He could have caught the straight. The ace or the 9 would have given him the straight. So he had ways to win on the river. Was it a good bet? I'm not sure. I guess the normal player who would have read that as a bluff, it wasn't a good bet. I mean, if I'm playing, I'd snap call. All in, call. I got aces, you got crap. No way would you make an all-in bet if you want to call. It's to get you to fold is the all-ins. 99 times out of 100, it's to get you to fold. Could he have a set? Would you have gone all in with a set of queens there? I doubt it. Would you have raised on the flop? No fucking way. So you got queens. You hit the set of queens on the flop. Are you betting? No chance. Now, maybe with 3 clubs, you don't want the flush to come out. Maybe you're making a bet there, but you're not going all in because you do want to get called. So I don't know. I just scratched my head with that. But that's how not to play aces and calling out the bluff. So if you're at a poker table and the guy does an all in on you, if you have aces like that, it's a snap call. The all in is a bluff and you go out, unless very rarely, certainly wouldn't have been a set, because if he gets the set, he wouldn't make the bet on the flop. He'd have just checked. He'd have checked back. I'm gonna slow play you with the set. I'm not gonna go all in. This happened to me once. I have queens. The flop comes like 2 clubs and a queen. The guy goes all in, and I snap call because I have trip queens, and there's no flush out there. There's only 2 of the clubs, not 3. So he's got 2 clubs. So he's on a flush draw with 4 clubs, but I hit a set of queens. I go, well, I got the best hand. Nobody can beat me. Nobody can have a better hand. And so I snap call him. And I ended up, he didn't catch his flush. I had trip queens, which I could have caught my full house. And he got heart, and I got the W. And it was a very, he did have a hand. He did a flush draw, and he's trying to get me out. And again, but had I not had a set of queens, he might have got me out. But with the pair of queens, I'm probably calling him. But with the set of queens, it's much easier. But there you go, all in with a draw, and good luck on that. Good luck catching the other club or whatever. So that's it. So that's my little bit of poker. I like showing that because you do not play. This is the problem with slow playing aces. He gets 3 clubs on the board, and he doesn't know what to do with the best hand because you're not betting it. You're not saying I got the best hand. It's a terrible way to play him. I would have definitely, Scott bet pre-flop. I would have definitely have raised pre-flop. Let's see where you're at. And he probably calls me, maybe not. He probably folds because he knows I have a good hand. At the end, he put him on like a pair of queens. So he's trying to bluff him off the pair of queens. But if I make the big bet pre-flop, he bets 1-5, I make it 4-5. Now he knows I got a big hand. You don't bluff me. That's one thing I noticed. When I get aces, I'm betting them. I don't slow play. Very rarely do I slow play them. If I'm in first position and it was a highly aggressive table, I will slow play the aces in the first position. And that's it. Otherwise, in like this game, I would have raised. Let's see what Scott does. He probably calls, but now he knows I got a hand, which means he knows I can't bluff him. He's got a hand, I can't bluff him. And that's the thing. So when I have aces and I bet, and then some guy calls me with a pair of 6s, and then a 6 comes on the flop and he checks and I bet a little bit, because I don't need to bet a lot. I just need to bet a little. Why risk a big bet? Well, I bet 500. I can bet 35 and get the same information. And then if he check raises me, I immediately fold because he hit his set. And if he doesn't check raise me, but he calls, I know I got him. I know he's got a pair. But it's amazing how many times they'll check raise me. They'll hit their set on my aces, and they know I won't fold because they know I got a big hand because I raised $30 pre-flop, and then I raised on the flop. So I'm saying I got a big hand. And so for you to raise me is because you think I won't fold. Then you want to, but they don't go all in on me. They raise me $50, $60. And then I fold because I know my aces are no good because I know aces aren't a great hand. So that's a little bit of poker there. So we got baseball, Cincinnati under 8 and Atlanta under 8. Those are your free plays. We'll keep an eye on college football, not college, on pro football. As we saw from Taiwan, if you don't want to pay with PayPal, you can use Venmo. I do have some people pay me in Venmo. I have Cash App, but only Alyssa sends me money on it. I really don't like it. I think the Venmo and the PayPal are fine. I think Cash App's good because I think you can pay me with your checking account because I know she doesn't have a credit card. But I would prefer the PayPal or the Venmo. I'll get it. I'll send you the password. And that's fine. Payment's payment. As long as I can run and buy silver, I'm a happy camper. So that's it. I will say I will probably post next weekend week 1A's games and a few week 1B games. And then there's a few teams like Hawaii and whoever they play, I think are playing 1A and 1B. So I can't really play Hawaii 1B because I got to see if the guy's injured or anybody got injured. Now, the line had jumped for Stanford because the quarterback had a sprained ankle, but he's apparently fine. And that's why the line jumped. But the quarterback seems like he's going to play, and there you go. So keep an eye on that. So keep an eye on the little injuries there. That's why I wait till the last. I could post now, but I want to see if there's an injury that happens. I don't want to bet injuries. I want to bet the guys. So anyway, if you're unhappy with your salon, go to another salon. There's different skill sets all around. Same thing with grocery stores. Be happy that we have that. And the last thing I'm going to show you is this one. Mandami bans free delivery of Amazon. And what he wants is all these Amazon people to be employees. Amazon works on your outside contractor. An outside contractor is you work for yourself, and this way Amazon doesn't have to pay FICA and Social Security. It's mostly a tax thing. And so the guys probably make their own hours and deliver, and that's it. But the socialists want to get involved and say, oh, no, they got to be employees. And they don't want it, and they don't want them to be union. And Amazon will just pull out of New York. I mean, say, fuck you. And again, socialism, they missed the whole point. I showed you that video. I want to show you again. This is such a good video, and this will be it.
Now, this lesson right here needs to be taught in every single school across all of America. Because there are some folks out there who are quite delusional about this socialism thing. Now,
scary story. An economics professor at a local college made a statement that she had never failed a single student before, but had recently failed an entire class. The class had insisted that socialism worked, that no one would be poor and no one would be rich, the great equalizer. The professor then said, okay, we will have an experiment in this class. All grades will be averaged and everyone will receive the same grade. No one will fail, but no one will receive an A either. After the first test, the grades were averaged and everyone got a B. The students who studied hard were upset, and the students who studied little were happy. As the second test rolled round, the students who studied little studied even less, and the ones who studied hard decided they wanted a free ride too, so they studied little. The second average test result was a D. No one was happy. When the third test rolled round, the average was an F. As the test proceeded, the scores never improved. As bickering, name-calling and blame all resulted in hard feelings, and no one would study for the benefit of anyone else. To their great surprise, all failed. And the professor told them that socialism would ultimately fail. Because when the reward is great, the effort to succeed is great. When the government takes away all the reward, no one will try or want to succeed. And that is socialism, my friends. A race to the bottom.
The New York Stock Exchange.
Well, I'll tell you, I worked at the grocery store, as I've told you. And it didn't matter if I worked hard because I was in a union and I'd get a raise based on how much time I was there. So if I was there 6 months, I got a raise. At a year, I'd get a raise no matter what. As long as I didn't get caught stealing, I was fine. But there was no incentive to work faster because I wasn't going to get rewarded for my work. I was getting rewarded for my time in. And I caught on to that. And I said, this is crazy. Socialism's a joke. It takes the incentive away. So if I'm in that class and I'm an A student, especially in Austrian economics, I'm going to want to study because I'm going to want to learn from my own. But that's capitalism, the individual. So if I get an A and I'm going to get a D anyway, why am I going to study? I'm not going to. Now, you do have people like me who just want to learn, as you see how well I've learned, where I know all this Austrian economics. I learned for myself, but I got rewarded with an A. The reward was there. But if I'm in this class, how many people are actually going to study when there's no reward for the study? So I study hard. The class all fails. I fail with them. I get a D, even though I deserve an A. Then I fail the class, even though I deserve an A, because everybody else is equal and everybody else, nobody's studying, and they're all getting Fs. And that's the problem with socialism. What we like in capitalism, especially Austrian economics, it's the incentive. I can make money if I do this. If I sell avocados, I can make money selling them. I have to have the incentive, the motive. If I have the incentive, I'll do it. If you kill the incentive from me, I won't do it. Nobody's going to plant avocados for nothing. They're only going to plant them to make profit. And that's the problem with socialism. They don't want to pay you, like this New York guy. I don't want to pay anybody. We'll have free stuff. It'll be the individual will make it because he'll get free food. There isn't going to be food to get. There won't be any food. Won't be free food. There won't be any because the incentive of the farmer to make the wheat and the rice and the bread and the cupcakes aren't going to be there. And therefore, if they're not there, then what do you got? So that is the problem with socialism. There is no such thing as equality. We're all based on our skill set. If I'm in finance and you're in painting, we're going to make different salaries. Or if you're in drywalling and I'm in bricklaying, we're not going to make the same. We're going to make different. If I'm in finance and you're in IT, but that's fine. That's the way it is. That skill set, depending on supply and demand, makes more or less than other skill sets. And that's fine. You choose what to go into. That's the key to it. And then you must be rewarded. You must get reward to do something. And when you take away the reward, which is what socialism does, and have the government plan it and do it, you're fucked. So I will leave you with that. We do not want socialism. You're going to see New York and Seattle dive, goodbye. And that's what happens. So with that, I will leave you. Take Cincinnati under and Atlanta under in baseball today. Free plays. We'll watch the football. Mendoza played. Joe Burrow played. Mahomes probably will play. Kelsey needs to play. So we will see what happens, but they need to play. And off we go. So that's it. If you are paying, yes, you can pay me in Venmo. I assume it's my email, which you can get from teaserking.com. The homepage has my email. You probably, I don't know if you have it. You probably have it when I send you passwords or stuff anyway. I don't know how PayPal, if they put my email on it, but I certainly get an email that Joe Blow has paid me. But just use my email to pay me. You get it on my website if you can, and we'll see. But I know some people pay me Venmo, which is perfectly fine. Or the PayPal, do friends and family. Do not do, if you're just buying off the shoot, just do friends and family so I don't have to pay 3%. If you're buying right off the site and you're buying a week and it's $100, then it would go as business. But the more friends and family is better for us. And that's it. So enjoy your day. What did we look at gold? Oh, yeah, I think we did. I think I'm in a daze. We'll look at it again. So it's almost 2:00. It closes at 5. Gold 43.88, silver 64.91. So we know silver will get back into the 70s. Gold should get back into the 5,000s. We know it's being pushed down by the Fed, by JP Morgan. Really, no idea why. It's the cat's out of the bag. We know gold's 4,000. It's going up. So I don't know, these idiots are making money on options, which is highly risky, instead of just buying the physical and letting it run. So we will get there. In the long run, we'll be way ahead, and we don't have any risk that it's going down or anything like that, because we have physical. Buy your physical, gold and silver, and just sit back and relax, and you have no fear of a crash because of very, very low supply and very, very high demand. That's impossible. Your stocks, that's going down. Your bonds are going out, and your house is going to zero in dollars. So we won't need wheelbarrows in our world. We'll just have gold and silver in our pockets. You are going to strike a home run, boss. Thank you, Pat. Pat's in Singapore. He's our friend in Singapore. So it's good when we hear from him. That's the beauty of it. I can be talking to him in Singapore here. I talked to Daria from Russia on Telegram. So that's what's nice about it. All right. Well, have a good day. Have a good weekend. I will see you tomorrow. www.teaserking.com. All right. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy.